Chapter 1. The Need for Reset. Most people only think about resetting when something breaks. Maybe a business fails, or a relationship falls apart. Those moments force change because the pain is undeniable. But here's what I've learned. The real need for reset shows up long before collapse. It arrives quietly, when things are going well, in comfort, when things feel fine. When the bills get paid and your routine feels predictable, that's when you stop asking if you're still on the right path. Comfort is sneaky like that. It convinces you that stable means successful. But sometimes stable just means stuck. The reset button exists for exactly these moments. It's about hitting pause when things are actually going well and asking yourself, does this still fit who I've become? The $1 Million Reset. For years, I had one goal: to make my first $1 million. I worked long hours, juggled multiple jobs, and invested almost everything I made. Every choice I made traced back to that number. When I finally hit it, I could have kept doing the exact same thing. Same work, same investments, same grind. Would I have made another million? Probably, eventually. Just slower and harder. But that's when I hit the reset button. I asked myself, am I still the same person who set this goal? The answer was no. The strategies that worked when I had nothing weren't the right ones now that I had something. So I pressed reset, not from zero this time, but from $1 million. Instead of only working for money, I started making money work for me. I invested in businesses that created cash flow. Eventually, that cash flow matched what I used to earn as an employee. The reset wasn't about throwing out what got me there. Those strategies were essential, but the person I'd become needed different strategies to keep moving forward. The Restaurant Reset. At 18, I opened a restaurant at Yonge and Eglinton in Toronto. It was a prime location with over $6,000 a month in rent, and more than $10,000 went in staff costs. For someone my age, just keeping the doors open felt like a massive win. It started strong. My plan was ambitious: build it up, sell for profit, use that cash to buy into franchises like Tim Hortons or McDonald's, then eventually buy a plaza with the cash flow. While it was a bold plan, for a while it actually seemed possible. Then 2008 hit. Business slowed, but expenses didn't. Rent kept coming, and loan payments piled up. I watched other restaurant owners around me take out credit lines and borrow more. They were hanging on tight, hoping things would turn around. A lot of them stayed trapped for years before finally closing with massive losses. I did something different. I pressed reset. I walked away from the restaurant, even though it hurt, and I shifted everything into construction and real estate. Years later, those same owners told me their biggest regret was not getting out sooner. They'd ask me how I knew. I didn't have a good answer back then. I couldn't really explain it. But looking back now, I see what happened. I pressed reset. I saw the signs, cut my losses, and moved towards something that fit where I was headed. That single call became the foundation for everything I built after. The hidden risk of not resetting. The danger of not resetting is that decline doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, quiet, and easy to ignore. You don't wake up one morning and realize you've wasted 10 years. It happens one small compromise at a time. The job you've outgrown feels fine, so you stay another year. The relationship that no longer inspires you feels comfortable, so you stay another 5. The strategy that brought you success before seems good enough, so you keep repeating it. On the surface, nothing looks wrong, but underneath, energy drains, opportunities pass, regret builds. That's the cost of not pressing reset, and it's always heavier than the cost of change. The Health Reset. I learned this lesson another way too. When I was working multiple jobs and going to school, my diet was whatever I could grab fast. Coffee, sugary drinks, pizza when I could afford it. Whatever was fast and cheap, that's what I lived on. I didn't have the time or money to do anything else. What's interesting is that when my career grew and I finally had stability, that same pattern followed me. I was still falling back on fast food and soda, even though my circumstances had changed. I wasn't that broke student anymore, but I was living with his habits. At some point, I realized I had to hit reset. Not because a doctor told me to, not because life forced me to, but because I could see the gap. The person I had become had time and resources that the old me didn't. The new me had 2 free hours in the evening. I could use that time to prep healthy meals. That was my reset button for health. It wasn't comfortable at first, but it was necessary. The old strategies for survival weren't good enough for the person I had become. The belief behind the habit. Every habit you carry today was built on a belief from your past. If the belief stays the same, the habit stays the same, even when your life changes. A simple but powerful example is the belief many people were raised with. You must finish everything on your plate. It sounds harmless. It feels respectful. It's often tied to culture and family values, but it creates a belief that outlives its purpose. That belief forms an identity. I'm someone who must always clean my plate. And that identity shapes your behavior automatically. Eating past fullness, finishing food out of guilt, ignoring signals from your body. The outcome has nothing to do with discipline. It's simply the natural result of a belief you never updated. This is why changing habits without changing beliefs never works. You're trying to build a new life on top of an old operating system. A personal example. I grew up hearing what many kids heard. Finish your food. Don't waste it. Clean your plate. It wasn't meant to harm me. It came from love and from parents who sacrificed a lot. But the belief stayed with me long after childhood. Even as an adult, even when I was working multiple jobs or going to school, that habit followed me into every meal. What I didn't realize was that I was no longer eating because I was hungry. I was eating because I felt guilty leaving anything behind. Even later, when my life improved and I finally had the time and energy to eat healthier, the belief was still running in the background. I wasn't choosing my portions. The old belief was. I wasn't stopping when I was full. The belief told me to finish. The habit didn't change because my circumstances changed. It only changed when I pressed reset on the belief itself. I replaced it with a new one. Respecting my health is more important than respecting the plate. Once that belief reset, the habit reset naturally. Portions changed, eating slowed down. My energy improved. There was no guilt, only alignment. That's when I understood something important. You don't reset a habit by forcing it. You reset a habit by updating the belief that created it. The habit reset formula. If you want to change your outcomes, change your decisions. If you want to change your decisions, change your identity. If you want to change your identity, change your beliefs. A belief reset is the first domino that shifts everything else. Trajectory greater than position. Your current position matters less than the direction you're heading. Think of it like this. Someone standing at the bottom of a mountain and climbing upward is in a better place than someone standing at the peak and no longer moving. A comfortable job with no growth is more dangerous than a challenging role where you're learning daily. The reset button doesn't focus on where you are right now. It focuses on where you're headed next. Here's the real test. If you keep doing exactly what you're doing today for the next 12 months, Will you be more valuable or less valuable? Quick check. Are you building skills that make you harder to replace, or are you staying comfortable in ways that make you easier to replace? The 5 early warning signals. Reset before you need to. Here are the quiet signs that it's time. 1. Diminishing returns. More effort, same result. 2. Stale energy. You're competent, but not curious. 3. Copy-paste weeks. Last month's calendar looks identical to next month's. 4. Legacy goals. You're chasing a target your present self wouldn't set. 5. Opportunity blindness. You notice chances and explain them away. If you spot 2 or more of these for 60 days, it's time for a reset. The comfort tax. Comfort has a cost. You just don't see it on paper. It's paid in lost compounding. Health tax. Fatigue you accept reduces your creativity. Money tax. Repeating an old model blocks higher margin moves. Reputation tax. Being known for the old you limits access to the next you. When you accept fatigue as normal, your creativity suffers. When you keep repeating an old business model, you miss higher margin opportunities. When people only know you for what you used to do, they won't think of you for what you could do next. That's what comfort costs you. Resetting stops the leak and puts that energy back to work. The reset math. Think of success as a simple equation. Result equals quality of direction times consistency of resets times time. Most people focus only on the last part. They keep adding more time and effort, hoping results will grow. But if your direction is even slightly off, doubling time only doubles the distance from where you actually want to go. When you realign your direction and apply small, consistent resets, time starts compounding in your favor instead of against you. More effort without resets equals burnout. Fewer resets equals slower growth. Better direction equals exponential growth. 3 questions that reopen your future. Ask these when everything looks fine. 1. If I met myself for the first time today, would I assign myself the same goals? 2. Which skill, if upgraded, would make the rest of my plan easier or obsolete? 3. Where am I too safe? Safety is comforting, but it can quietly turn into a cage. Ask yourself, where have I built walls that once protected me, but now limit me? Maybe it's a steady job that no longer challenges you. Maybe it's a business model that feels predictable but doesn't excite you anymore. Maybe it's staying quiet when you should be leading. You're not supposed to live in constant danger. But if you never feel even a little uncomfortable, you've stopped growing. The right level of risk is where your skills and experience meet something slightly beyond your reach. That's where resets are born. The risk ladder. Resetting isn't all or nothing. Climb steadily. Thought experiment. What would I do if I believed bigger? Time experiment. Allocate 5% of your week to the new direction. Money experiment. Test with a small, defined budget. Public commitment. Tell someone. Set a review date. Structural shift. Change the systems, roles, or offers. Move one rung at a time. You'll still move fast. The red team test. Invite one trusted person to argue against your current plan for 20 minutes. Ask only, what am I underestimating? If you can't defend the plan without emotion, it's time to reset the plan or the ego. pressing reset by choice. That's the whole point of the reset button. It gives you back your power. You can wait until life forces you to change through exhaustion or crisis, or you can press reset by choice while momentum is on your side. Your goals quietly stop fitting as you grow. And if you're not checking in regularly, you might spend years chasing something that doesn't matter to you anymore. Because if you don't press reset, life will do it for you, and it's always better to choose. When the future knocks, answer with a reset.